What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Wargames, and we're here with Joe, who has a selection of decks to deck profile for us today. Now we all know that Joe is kind of like the Frankenstein of the group. He does like to mix cards that shouldn't really be mixed and shouldn't really make sense, but somehow they do. So what deck are you going to show us today, Joe?
LunaFur, I call it.
LunaFur.
Fluffles and Lunalights.
So that's going to be his first deck, so without further ado, we will crack straight on with that. So, what we got?
Right, to start off with the monsters, we have the one Fluffle dog. In normal Fluffles and Fight First, you'd be playing this at 3. But in this build, you're kind of like turboing through your deck to get to your Fluffle pieces, as they can be fused essentially from hand, field and grave with the spells that we use. But we still take the one dog because we want to have that one normal summon, search our bear, to then ditch to get our toy vendor and go on from there. So we play the one dog. Then we have essentially the Fluffle draw engine, which is 3 bears and 3 wings. So bear, as we all know, you ditch it to set a toy vendor to your field, which you can then use to ditch a card from your hand to draw cards, and as well if it dies, it all just goes to grave, you get a Fluffle search. Wings lets us get that toy vendor to grave to draw like 3 cards, so you get like +3 from just wings and toy vendor alone. So those are essentially all of our Fluffle monsters. And then for the edge imps, I just play 2 chain. I don't play sabers in the deck because I have another card to substitute for it, which you could probably guess. But I play chain because he gets us to essentially, you could say, the best fight for in the extra deck, which is sheep. As well as being a searcher if you mill it from toy vendor or just discard it from toy vendor. So I play the 2 chains, and that's the Fluffle lot. For the Lunalights, we play 3 Lunalight Black Sheep. She's your searcher for polymerization, as well as a good combo maker to get back the hand advantage that you lose from using polymerization. There's a cool thing with this I want to talk about in another video in the future, is that I feel like this, along with Lunalight Rabbit, could be the new, you could say, engine for most polymerization decks. If your deck relies on polymerization, I could actually recommend this engine because it's actually a really good engine. I'm using it in my Melodious as well. So with White Rabbit, it's essentially your giant Trunade of the deck, as well as your Monster Reborn. You summon her, you get back a Lunalight to the field, then you can return cards up to the number of Lunalights you control. Most thing you're going to be bringing back is Black Sheep, and sometimes your fusion monsters, so then you can constantly get more plays going. Lunalight's Miracle Fusion, Lunalight Wolf. This is probably one of the best cards in terms of the Lunalights in the deck, other than Sheep. You just set her in scale and you can just keep on fusing every turn. It's just one of the best things of the deck. And then I play 1 Lunalight Tiger. This used to be a blue cat, but then after doing some thinking, I thought, well, blue cat, I would only use her to get a search when she dies in battle. So I thought I'd rather go with a tiger, who can also get me searches if it dies, if I have to summon it to the field like a US set. But other than that, I'll just put it in scale and then just keep reviving a Lunalight and then just keep getting plays off. Now, I will admit, this is probably the one reason why I wanted to try and mix these 2 decks together, is King of the Swamp. I wanted to try and combine 2 decks. I'm using less money, essentially, to try and make these decks work. And King of the Swamps is one of these like pricey cards I just can't get another playset of. So I thought, well, it can substitute for most things in fusions, and it's a searcher for polymerization. So I thought, well, why can't I just see if I can mix them with these? So I've managed to do a lot of testing and find a good build to make this work. So King of the Swamp, it's your substitute for sabers in the deck, and again, it's a searcher for polymerization. So that's the monsters. Spells. This is one of those like decks, but it's just literally monsters and spells. You want to make it as fast as possible. 3 toy vendor, one of the best spells in the deck. You play it, it's your draw power, it's your milling power, it's your graveyard setup, it's your hand setup, it's everything in the deck. So you play 3 of that, you search it through bear. If you can ditch it itself to get search and then draw, so toy vendor at 3. 2, fight for fusion. You can buff this up to 3, but I wouldn't recommend it because in testing for me at least, I found 3 was a bit too cloggy. As we search it through Edge and Chain anyway. So you play 2 of that. To search our Lunalights, play 3 Tenki, buffs your fusions as well, or all your Beast Warriors. So you've got to play that. 3 Lunalight Perfume. Now this is a really good card in this build because if you mill it off Toy Vendor, it's not a minus at all because you can then just banish this card from your grave and search a Lunalight. So you're kind of like using Toy Vendor to search Lunalights as well in a very weird chain. But it's your Monster Reborn and your Rotor for Lunalights as well as Tenki, so you've got to play 3 of that. Fusion deck, you've got to play 3 Polymerization. I am thinking of taking this out for a Fusion Substitute, which the only minus to that is that you can only fuse from the field, but if you mill it off Toy Vendor, you can then return a fusion in your grave to extra deck and draw a card. So it's kind of like more consistency, but still being a Polymerization. But at the moment, it's just 3 poly. And then we play the 1 Fusion Recovery. Gets your plays back, gets your hand back. There's not much to say about Fusion Recovery. Then to round up the spells and the deck, main deck, you have 2 MST, because Twin Twisters you can play, but I wanted to keep this as budget as possible. So play 2 MSTs, it still does the same thing, plus we still have Fight for a Tiger to pop back row. 1 Foolish Burial, we do fuse from the graveyard a lot more than the field in hand in this deck. So Foolish Burial just sets up the plays, it makes Toy Vendor live by setting up rings, and so from that. And then the 1 Dark Hole, this can be replaced with Rageki if you have one. For the extra deck, 3 Cat Dancers. You've got to play 3 Cat Dancers, it's your main Lunalight that you fuse into to start off all your other plays. Gives you access to the Panther Dancer, which we play 3 of, because these are your 2 essentially your best Lunalight fusions and the ones you'll be going into the most. Cat Dancer does 100 damage if it attacks, and it can attack twice if you tribute a Lunalight. And then Panther Dancer, it's immune to, I think it's a card destroyed by card effects. So that's pretty good, can't Dark Hold it, can't Rageki it, and that kind of thing. And if it kills something, it gains 200 and it can attack every monster twice. Then we play the 2 of the Lunalight boss, big boss, which is Leo Dancer. In pure builds, you can play this at 3. You can even drop this down to 1 if you want to max out on other things like Xyz, but this extra deck is just all primary fusions. She can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And if she attacks, she destroys all special summon monsters and she can attack twice. And it's a 3500. For the fight first, we have 1 Sabertooth. You can buff if you feel like you play the fight for fusions more than the Lunalight fusions. You could take out a Leo for a 2nd Sabertooth if you wish. I just wanted to play 1 Sabertooth at the moment because I haven't gone into it as much, but who knows, I might change and do the swap. It's a big monster reborn for your fusions. If you use certain amount of materials, it buffs and you can get OTKs with this card. And then to round up the fight for fusions, we've got to play the 3 mandatory sheep, 2 tiger, and 1 wolf. 3 sheep, it's probably the best fight for fusion. It's an Armades, it can revive itself, give itself a bit more attack. It's just an out to most decks at the moment. This is your like meta checkup, you could say, as things like BA don't get their effects and that kind of stuff, and Cosmos as well. Tiger, it's your board wiper, it's your buffer, it's your essentially your power push play. And then Wolf is just there for OTKs because you can do it with like King of the Swamp, like fuse 4 monsters and push for a game. So that's the deck, people. I hope you enjoyed it. This is one of many Frankenstein decks, you could say, that I make, as I do enjoy them. I've always enjoyed them. You can find a lot of crazy combos if you try and mix decks together. A friend of mine wanted to make this deck as well, and he actually found the Lunalight Perfume Toy Vendor combo, which I didn't even find when making the deck. So you can find some crazy combos with these kind of decks, and I feel like that's one thing Konami's trying to do, which is quite weird, at least with the anime decks.
Cool. So that was, like Joe said, one of his 3 that he would like to show off today. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner. So thanks for watching this video. We hope you can join us some more. And as always, happy dueling, guys.